You may have heard that eating fruit every day is good for your health. But what if I told you that a seemingly harmless fruit, even one that is often recommended as a healthy snack, could be silently destroying your liver? Would you believe it? You may be thinking, how could natural fruit be harmful? And that's the problem. This sense of security leads many people to consume it indiscriminately, not knowing that every bite of fruit they take could be another step toward liver damage. The damage isn't because of the toxins, but because of the silent accumulation of a natural sugar, fructose. Most of us don't pay attention to our livers because they rarely speak up, but that's what makes them one of the most vulnerable organs. By the time you start to have obvious symptoms, the damage may have already progressed to an alarming level. And one of the main causes is due to eating habits that seem healthy, especially from the fruits that you absolutely trust. So which fruits are harmful to the liver? Why can fructose, even though it is a natural sugar, become an agent that leads to fatty liver, hepatitis, and even cirrhosis? And more importantly, what is the safe limit so that you can take advantage of the benefits of fruit without putting pressure on the liver? We will delve into these questions in the following sections. But before we get there, pause and think. What you are eating every day, is it really as healthy as you think? Or is it just a natural shell that is hiding a silent danger? Next, you will understand clearly why the liver, although the vital organ of the body, is often neglected, and that causes millions of people to face a health crisis without even knowing it. The liver is one of the most silent organs in the human body. It doesn't beat like the heart, it doesn't speak like the stomach when hungry, and it doesn't attract attention like the skin or digestive system when there's a problem. But because the liver works silently, we often underestimate its importance until it's too late. Did you know that the liver performs more than 500 different functions? From filtering toxins in the blood, breaking down alcohol, metabolizing fat, storing energy as glycogen, to synthesizing proteins and regulating hormones, all go through this filter. Without the liver, the human body simply cannot survive. The worrying thing is, the liver can be damaged for years without you even realizing it. No pain, no obvious symptoms, no alarm. By the time a checkup accidentally reveals elevated liver enzymes, or an ultrasound shows that the liver is starting to accumulate fat, the damage has already begun, and the recovery journey will no longer be simple. One of the most common diseases related to the liver today is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, also known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The cause is not alcohol, but the modern diet, too much sugar, processed foods, bad fats, and especially fructose, the natural sugar that we still think is safe. The liver is a resilient soldier with an amazing ability to regenerate. But even a powerful machine has its limit. Once you continuously overload it with unnecessary burdens, over time, the overload will erode its performance, reduce its ability to metabolize, and pave the way for inflammation, damage, and fat accumulation. The question now is, if the liver is so important, why do we neglect it when we believe we are living a healthy life? And if fruit, a symbol of health, can harm the liver, what is the real cause? In the next section, we will decode a seemingly harmless element that is a hidden enemy of the liver, fructose. And from here you will begin to understand why not all natural foods are good choices, especially when it comes to liver health. Fructose. Sounds familiar. This is a natural sugar found in many fruits, honey, and even corn syrup. A common ingredient in soft drinks, candy, and processed foods. Because it is natural, fructose is often assumed to be safe. But the truth is far from what you think. Unlike glucose, a sugar that the body uses directly for energy, fructose can only be metabolized by the liver. When you consume a small amount of fructose, the liver can handle it smoothly. But when the amount of fructose exceeds the body's needs, especially from eating too much fruit, juice, or processed foods, the liver will be overloaded. At that time, the excess fructose will be converted to fat and gradually accumulate in the liver. This is the silent mechanism that leads to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, one of the most common liver diseases today. The remarkable thing is that this process is quiet, asymptomatic, and lasts for many years. You don't feel anything. You go about your day as usual, until one day your liver enzymes spike or a random test reveals that your liver is storing too much fat. You might think, I only eat fruit, not soft drinks. But remember, sweet fruits are also concentrated sources of fructose, especially when juiced or eaten in large quantities. When you drink a glass of mango juice, for example, You're consuming the equivalent of 2-3 mangoes in one sitting, something your body doesn't need. In addition to promoting fatty liver, fructose has been linked to insulin resistance, a leading risk factor for type 2 diabetes, obesity, metabolic syndrome, and heart disease. And because fructose doesn't cause an immediate spike in blood sugar like glucose, it can be deceptive. You don't feel too sweet, but your liver is struggling to process it every minute. In short, it's not the fructose that's the problem. It's the amount of fructose you're consuming each day. While 1 fruit a day is fine, eating 3 or 4 in a row or drinking concentrated juices every day can turn fructose into a real liver killer. Next, we'll look at a list of common fruits that can cause liver damage if eaten incorrectly or in excess. Don't be too quick to eliminate fruit from your diet. You need to understand how to consume it in moderation. Fruits are a symbol of freshness, naturalness, and health. But this is only true if you know how to choose the right type and consume it in reasonable doses. In fact, there are some fruits that are rich in nutrients but contain high fructose content, or have a high glycemic index, GI, causing the liver to work too hard if you consume them regularly or too much. Below are 5 familiar fruits that can become a double-edged sword for the liver if you do not know how to control them. 1. Mango. Sweet but easy to overdose. Mango is a favorite tropical fruit with a delicious taste, rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, and antioxidants. However, mango is also in the group of fruits with high fructose content and a medium to high glycemic index. Eating 1 mango a day may not be a problem, but when you eat 2 or 3 fruits or drink concentrated mango juice, your liver has to work hard to handle the large amount of sugar that comes in a short period of time. For those at risk of insulin resistance, diabetes, fatty liver, or being overweight, this is a dangerous sweet trap. 2. Raisins. An unexpected source of concentrated sugar. Fresh grapes already contain a high amount of sugar, but when dried, they lose water and concentrate the sugar many times over. Just a small handful of raisins can contain more than 20-25 grams of sugar, mostly fructose. Because they are small and easy to eat, raisins are often consumed excessively without the user realizing it. For the liver, this is an overload of sugar in a short time, an ideal condition for visceral fat accumulation. Bananas. Highly nutritious but should not be eaten indiscriminately. Bananas are a source of potassium, vitamin B6, and fiber. However, bananas also contain a high amount of natural sugar, especially when they are soft and ripe. An average banana can contain up to 14 grams of sugar. Eating 2 to 3 fruits a day, combined with other sweet foods, will push the liver into a state of continuous sugar process. For healthy people, this may not be immediately obvious, but for people with weak livers or high metabolic risk, bananas can cause fat accumulation and increase silent hepatitis. Persimmon, or pimmon. Benign does not mean harmless. This is a fruit that is often mistakenly thought to be completely harmless, thanks to its mild sweetness and low acidity. However, persimmons have a significant fructose content and are often eaten a lot during the season. With its soft, easy to digest, and naturally sweet taste, people often eat a lot of fruit at once. This causes the liver to suddenly process a large amount of fructose. Durian. Fatty but heavy on the liver. Durian is not only high in sugar, but also rich in fat, making the digestion and metabolism process more complicated for the liver. Each durian segment can provide up to 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates, mostly in the form of simple sugar. For people with fatty liver, eating durian regularly can make the condition of liver inflammation and fat accumulation progress faster. Summary of this section. No fruit is completely bad, but all become harmful when exceeded. Eating a mango, a banana, or a few durian segments will not destroy your liver immediately. But when these fruits are consumed in excess every day, especially combined with other sources of sugar, such as soft drinks, cakes, industrial juices, that is when the liver is pushed to the limit of tolerance. What you need is not to eliminate fruit from your diet, but to understand which types should be controlled and how much is enough. And as you will see in the next section, not only fruit, but also other seemingly harmless foods in your daily meals are also silently contributing to damaging your liver every day. You may be damaging the liver every day without completely noticeable, not by alcohol or toxic medicine, but from familiar dishes and drinks, seemingly harmless, appearing regularly in the daily diet. Take a look at the box of canned fruit juice or drink after a meal. It is labeled natural, rich in vitamins, but the truth is that the inside contains large amounts of fructose and additional sugar. Without fiber such as fruit, this sugar will quickly pour into the liver, forcing this organ to be metabolized continuously. When consumed regularly, the sugar will turn into internal fat, accumulate in the liver and form fatty liver. Do not stop at juice, bottled tea, sugar-free soft drinks, or energy drinks also contain artificial sweeteners and chemical additives. Although not providing calories, these substances can affect intestinal microflora and indirectly impair liver function. Similarly, popular breakfast dishes, such as white bread, instant cereals, biscuits, or industrial pastries, contain refined carbohydrates in single sugar, causing blood sugar to rise rapidly and force the liver to react strongly to balance. Used regularly every day, these foods make the liver work non-stop, no recovery time. In addition, fried foods and fast foods such as chips, fried chicken, sausages contain a lot of saturated fat and trans fat, along with high salt content, increasing hepatitis and water retention in the body, a factor that makes the liver work more to filter out. It is worth mentioning that the regularity of small habits is a serious problem. A glass of soft drinks, a piece of cake, a fast food meal, each one a little bit harmful immediately. But when repeating every day, the liver gradually loses the ability to resist. So, start from the smallest things. Read the food ingredients carefully, gradually reduce processed items, prioritize fresh ingredients, and cook at home. Your liver cannot speak up, but it is waiting for you to change. After going through a series of foods that are harmful to the liver, you are probably wondering, so what foods really help the liver recover, detoxify, and work more effectively? The answer is yes. In nature, there are many foods that are not only safe but also act as silent heroes to help protect and regenerate the liver. If you know how to take advantage of the right, lemon is one of the typical examples. Thanks to vitamin C, antioxidants, and citric acid, lemon stimulates the body to produce detoxification enzymes, support the liver in decomposing fat, and eliminate toxins. Drink a glass of warm water mixed in the morning. No sugar, no stone, can become a small habit but bring great benefits. However, if you have a sesame problem, always dilute and use a moderate amount. Broccoli, kale, cabbage, and vegetables of the cabbage family contain glucosinolate compounds. When digestive, will convert into substances that help the liver enhance detoxification. Not only that, they also reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and support liver to reduce fat accumulation. Eating steamed vegetables, gently boiled or fried with low oil, will help keep the maximum nutrients without putting further pressure on the liver. Nuts like walnuts, almonds, chia seeds provide omega-3, anti-inflammatory, and vitamin E ingredients that help reduce liver fat and protect liver cells from oxidation. A small handful of seeds per day is enough to support the liver without causing excess energy. Finally, green tea, if used pure, no sugar, is also an ideal drink to help the body fight free radicals, reduce fat accumulation, and support blood circulation to the liver. The liver does not need two great changes. It needs you to start small but right option. When you reduce the burden and at the same time add beneficial foods, the liver will recover. It is originally a regenerative organ, as long as you give it a chance. The liver never requires, it does not cry, does not signal clearly, nor requires you to take care of it every day, but it is that silence that makes the liver most vulnerable. When you realize there is a problem, usually the process of injury has been silently taking place for many years. That is why acting right now, before showing signs, is more important than ever. You do not need to make sudden changes or pursue a harsh diet. What you need is the perception, the ability to choose the right meal in each meal, and the habit of prioritizing what nourishes the liver instead of causing it to collapse. Gradually reducing refined sugar, limiting processed foods, eating fruit properly, combining green vegetables, and liver protection. These small actions are long-term liver protection shields. Remember, the liver has strong recovery, but it takes time. You need to reduce pressure and need smart choices every day. Do not wait until the body brings a rescue signal to start changing. Health is the result of each small action. And the first action is today, starting to care about your liver as it silently protects you all the time. The liver just needs a companion. The protection journey starts from a decision, choosing to be more conscious, right from the next meal.